Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again. We are continuing with secure configuration, and today we are going to have a more real world scenario approach to this secure configuration. And please, if you have not viewed the previous video, you have to view them first. And if you are serious about cyber security, you really have to subscribe to this channel. Also, we have a WhatsApp number at the bottom right where you can query us about cybersecurity, and also you can join our WhatsApp group. So let us continue with today's session. So we saw about secure configuration that we could have done it manual by using directory, the resources prepared by CIS, the benchmark that they have. But today we are going to see a more practical, a more real world approach about it, because we know doing it the way that we did in the last session is not feasible. As you saw, we had like 100 controls for Windows. Doing it each one by one, it's time consuming, it's tiresome. But now we are going to see how are we real implementing secure configuration in our given environment. So we are not doing it manual, as I've emphasized. We need to automate this process. And you have to note that to do secure configuration, there are two phases. The first one, you have to audit your system, or you have to audit your given asset to know how much is it complied with your given standard. For our case, we are talking about CIS benchmarks. So if we are talking about CIS benchmark for Windows Server, then we have to audit the Windows Server first so that we may know the control that it complies with and the control that it is not complies with. Then we focus on enforcing the control that it is not complying with instead of doing all of them, because sometimes you may find in 100 controls, maybe already 50 controls the machine is complied with. So you don't need to do 50 more tasks for things that are already there. So the first automating should be on auditing. Then after you are auditing, then you can also automating the fixing, implementing those given controls. And of course, there are different approaches of doing this. For instance, for the case of auditing, the modern vulnerability scanners, they have this so-called compliance auditing. And most of this compliance auditing, they have different standards for secure configuration. And commonly, CIS, you can find it in almost any modern vulnerability scanner. So that means you can use these modern vulnerability scanners like Nessus, like Nexpos, and whatever commercial version that you may have, so that you can scan your given infrastructure and knows which asset complies to what extent to which given baseline. That can be used in automating the auditing. But of course, by using this modern vulnerability scanner, you are not going to be able to automate the fixing. The fixing, you have to do it manual, of course. It will tell you what control are not implemented in your given asset and how to control it. But the actual implementing it, you have to run the command or to set the GPOs, the group policy object in case of Windows. But also there are dedicated tools just for compliance. And of course, as I said before, here we are talking more about open source tools that are beta tested. For case of Linux, there are these two tools. We have this Linux. It is just for compliance, including CIS. So you can Google it and learn more about it and how can you use it to automate auditing. And of course, we have this very powerful tool, OpenSCAP. This one covers all Linux-based system, not all, but most of them, like CentOS, Red Hat, Ubuntu, Fedoras. Yeah, it covers them all. And this one is good because it automates both auditing and fixing them, and it is open source. So also I give you this as your take home. You can also go and visit the site. Of course, I included the link of this tool in this resource, and I will share this PDF resources so that you can just visit it and go straight. And it has two versions, the normal version, the standard version, and the workbench version. So I encourage you to start with the workbench version because it's a graphical user interface. You don't need to run command, and it is very user friendly. And of course, another option can be used, automating it yourself. If you know shell programming, you can automate the auditing or the fixing by using shell programming. The same applied to PowerShell programming. If you are fluent in those languages in Windows, then you can do the same. But also, the automating in Windows can be also done in a tricked way. For instance, you may start doing it manual, configuring all the group police objects for your given standard. Then that group police object can be exported to what we call PowerShell desired secured state, something like that. It means that you export your given GPOs in such a way that when you're going to take them to another window machine, you don't need to do the GPO configuration manual. You just run it because it is exported as a normal PowerShell script. But one of the approach that I really like, and of course I'm not going to cover it now because of its scope, it's Ansible. Ansible is a very powerful automation framework that you can use to automate anything concerning infrastructure administration, be it switch, be it operating system, whatever asset. As long as that given asset has an IP address, then you can use this Ansible framework to automate whatever kind of operation on it. So Ansible is also useful in automating this secure configuration. That is also is one of the approach that you can check it. And another option is by using operating system given tools. Of course, you're going to find a tool like OpenSCAP is dedicated or is maintained by Red Hat Enterprises. So it is also a Red Hat dedicated tool for this secure configuration. But also it's used in different Linux-based systems. You can use it in Fedora and another environment. But we are going to see further more about. So in this session, I'm going to do a live practical demonstration of doing secure configuration in an automated way, but I'm going to focus on Ubuntu server. I choose this approach because of the mentioned approach like Linux or OpenSCAP. Those are very straightforward. You can just and do it yourself. And I encourage you to focus on OpenSCAP, doing it yourself. As you can see, I've included the link in this resource here, and I will share with you. You can see the link of this PDF in the description of the video so that you can just download it and use it as you wish. So for the case of this demonstration, I'm going to focus on using Ubuntu's own built-in utilities to do secure configuration. And this one is a bit complicated compared to OpenSCAP Watchbank. That's why I want to demonstrate it and not those other alternatives. So how are we going to achieve this? For also, you have to know beforehand, the approach I'm showing here is applicable to Ubuntu OS. It doesn't matter if it's a desktop or a server operating system, as long as it's from version 20.04 onwards, these steps are applicable. But the same can be also on version 18.04 downwards. But there is a slight deviation that we are going to see later. But other things remain the same. So the first thing you have to do for you to implement secure configuration, and of course, you are going to see the same thing we are doing here. They are applicable in almost anything concerned with Ubuntu security, even managing patching, managing updating. You can also doing all those stuffs by just following these same steps. So we are hitting, many bits by using the single stone. So the first step is you have to install the so-called Ubuntu Advantage client. So first, I have to log into my Ubuntu server that I want to use for this demonstration. Yeah, let me log in it. Yes.com. Here it is. Waiting for the password prompt, then entering the password. Yeah, here I am. So now I can proceed with my lab session because I've already logged into my Ubuntu server. So the first step is to install this Ubuntu client. We call Ubuntu Advantage client. And actually, this is the client, as we're going to see. When you install Ubuntu, be it on a desktop or a server, you are using the completely free Ubuntu. But Ubuntu, they have special service dedicated for enterprise usage. These services include management of patching, updating, and security, even secure configuration. So you have to activate your given Ubuntu installation to be attached to this service. To do that, you need to have a client that can attach your given installation to these premium Ubuntu services. So that's why we are installing this Ubuntu Advantage client. So I'm copying this command and I'm pasting it here and running it. Of course, it will need a password. So here I'm putting a password for it. Yes, then it's going to do. But for my case, you are going to see most of these commands. There is nothing new happening because I've already installed these stuffs as I was preparing this session because I wanted everything to be smooth and to save time, of course. So for you, you will learn it and you will see that it installs the normal Ubuntu package. And at the end of the day, you are going to have this Ubuntu Advantage client installed. Then the next command is to check whether you are given Ubuntu Advantage client is installed successful. So I'm just copying it and pasting it. There it is. Then it is running. Now the results may be different. For instance, for my case here, you are seeing almost everything, even the status and the final message here, like this machine is already being in this subscription of Ubuntu Pro, and I'm using free person subscription. What it means is I've already done everything. It means this machine is already attached to the premium Ubuntu service, those that are providing enterprise level support like updates, patch management, and this secure configuration. And of course, as you can see, though they have this paid service for enterprise, but still they provide free personal subscription where when you register, you can attach like 5 machines by using a single registration. So you can even test it as you are going to see further during this demonstration. So for those who have not done the subscription, then they have just installed this Ubuntu Advantage client. The output is going to be like this. It looks similar to mine, but it's different if you compare. For instance, here you are not going to see the service status like disabled or what, and you're going to see a message like this machine is not attached to any Ubuntu Pro subscription because you have not attached it yet. You have just installed the Ubuntu client tool to your given machine. And of course, this is the screen that looks like mine, just a screenshot of my screen because I've already attached. So we can proceed. Now, if we have already installed this Ubuntu client on our given machine, the next step, as we said, because we need to have like activating Ubuntu to access premium enterprises support from Ubuntu vendor. So to do this, you need to have an account. And the first account that you need to have is what we call Ubuntu One account. This is like a single sign-on account that you can use to various Ubuntu service, including this premium one. So how can you sign or can you register yourself to this Ubuntu One service? You just go to your given browser and then type ubuntu.com. Then there it is. It's going to take you to this page, which is the main page of Ubuntu operating system. Then click sign in and wait for it. Now, for my case, I've already signed in. So that's why you see it took me direct. Let me using a different browser so that we go in phase. Ubuntu.com. There it is. Then I have to accept cookies. Then it tells me to sign in. Yeah, then I have to accept. So you are going to see a screen like this. This one allows you to sign in, but for your case, you have not yet created any Ubuntu One account. So you check this one. I don't have any Ubuntu One account. Then here you will put your email. Then here you will put your full name, the first name, and the surname. Of course, they have written the full name, then the surname. So you can just put the first name and second name. Then here you can put your given surname. And of course, here then you are going to put your password based on this criteria here. So you are going to observe them when you are creating your password. And of course, here you are going to retype it again to confirm. Then make sure you check this one. Then you click this button, create account. Then if you have done all those stuffs, they will tell you that they have sent an email to your given address that you have shared it here. And what you need to do is for you to go to your given email address, and there you will find an email from this Ubuntu. Then you click it, then somewhere you are going to see something like this. Then let me just going straight, instead of just explaining everything verbal, let me just show you the kind of email that you are going to receive. I received the one from Ubuntu. Yeah, this one, Ubuntu one. Yeah. The first one tells you to finish your registration. There are going to be two. So you are going to click this link, which is going to take you back. I'm actually, it's going to take you here. But for me, I've already, yeah, I mean, I've already confirmed my authorization, and of course, this code is no longer used. So you are going just to follow this step. You are going to confirm your authorization. Then you are going to receive a second email to validate your email address. Then you are just going to, so what you need to do whenever you receive the email from Ubuntu after doing registration, you are just going to click these similar links. They will tell you, please click on this link from the first one and the second one. After you are doing that, then you are have your account properly set and you are ready to log in. So that is how you create your Ubuntu One account. So after you have created it, then you need to go back to the same URL, which is ubuntu.com. And of course, then you are going to click sign in. Remember, now you have the account. So if you see whether this one, because I've already logged in this browser, but for this browser is going to be different. Like you are going to see the former view. Like here, you need to put the email that you used to register your Ubuntu One account. Then here you have to put a password. Then here you are going to log in. So for my case, I've already created the account, and so are you. If you have already created it, then you can just log in. Then after login, of course, you are going to see the normal Ubuntu website homepage. Now, what you need to check is where you see your first name, because here it means you have already logged in on an Ubuntu One. Because the purpose here now, after you have created your Ubuntu One account, then you need to go to the dashboard of this Ubuntu One account and retrieve a token that you can use now to attach your given machine to this premium subscription of Ubuntu, so that you can access those privileged service for enterprise. And as I said before, even if you are not an enterprise, you can just create this account by using normal Gmail account, and you are going to have it for 5 machines. So for my case, I'm going to click my name here, Rupiana, and you're going to click yours, and then you are going to visit this link, Ubuntu Pro dashboard. Then you're going here. Then here is now you are going to see this token. This is what we were concerned about. Or you can just copy the whole command, because now the idea here is to attach your given Ubuntu installation to this premium Ubuntu service, or the so-called Ubuntu Pro service. So you are going back to your given server and then running that given command. But as I said, for my case, I've already attached it. As you can see, this machine is already attached to this so and so and so. So for you, because you didn't attach it at first, then you are going to attach it, and then you are going to have the message like you have enabling the service and so and so. At the end of the days, you are going to get a feedback that your machine is already attached to this Ubuntu Pro service. Now, you are going to, of course, before going further, after you have attached it now, because I said before, for those who have not attached it and they have executed this command to know the status of Ubuntu Advantage, their view is similar to this one, because they are not going to see the service status, and they are not going to see the message that their machine is attached to any subscription. But now, after you have attached it and relearn the Ubuntu Advantage status command, your result is going to be like mine now. So you are going to see this addition command of all the services that are there, and whether they are disabled or they are not disabled. And of course, you are going to see the account which you are given machine is I mean, when the account corresponding to the subscription of Ubuntu Pro effected on your given machine. So you're going to see something like this one. Now our focus, as I said before, with this service of Ubuntu Pro, you can manage live patch, you can manage various service, even expanding security maintenance for application. You can see there are varieties of service that you can make use of. But for my case here, I just want to demonstrate the secure configuration by using CIS benchmark. So I'll be concerned with this service, is whose long form is Ubuntu Security Guidelines. And as you can see in the description, it's all about security compliance and auditing tools. By default, you are going to see it is disabled. So you need to enable it. So to enable it, you are going to run the corresponding command, which is this one. Now we continue with our practical steps. This one, you learn sudo pro enable the service. So because the service here is USG, I'm going to copy this command here, and I'm going to, because the service are this one. So if I want to enable any service, I'm just specifying the name. So for my case, I'm going to use USG, but as you can see, I've already enabled it. I'm just demonstrating it here. So I run it. Then after running it, you are going to see it, check your subscription, and does whatever it does, then to sing it. Yeah. So after you have run it successful, then you are going to relearn this Ubuntu Advantage status to prove that whether the given service has been enabled or what. Then running it is going to display it again. So you are going to see now it is enabled. But for me, of course, it was enabled from the beginning. But for you, the first version you would have seen disabled. But after learning this command of enable this USG service, now you are going to see it is enabled. So after enabling that service, now the next step is you have to install the packages and the benchmarks that are corresponding with these Ubuntu security guidelines so that you can use them. As usual, you copy this next command and paste it to your Ubuntu installation. But as I said, for me, I've already installed them, so you can see there is nothing new. But for you, the usual process will happen that Ubuntu will download those packages and the benchmark and installing them for you. So now you are in the stage where you can do auditing, and you can even fixing the secure configuration on your given Ubuntu machine. Now to learn auditing, you learn this command sudo USG audit. And as I said, this USG stands for Ubuntu Secure Guidelines. So for auditing, you just run audit. And for auditing, as I said before, you are just trying to see how much are you compliant to this CIS secure configuration. So all those hundreds of controls that have been established by CIS, by just running this command, this given infrastructure that we have just established is going to check it for your on your behalf on your given machine, and of course it's going to give you a report where you can see which control you have already implemented and which you have not, of course, and you can even move further now to implement the control that are missing. So this is the syntax, and the profile, as we saw in the previous video, just specify your given profile. But for this given Ubuntu environment, the profiles are this one. The level one for workstation, for server, for workstation. We talked about the difference of level one and level two. So you are just going to use your given profile. So for my case here, I'm going to learn this command to do the auditing, of course, clearing the screen so that we have a fresh new screen. Then I'm learning this command. And of course, the next part is to specify the profile. So I'm going to use level one for server. Now remember, this is going to take time. So I'm just demonstrating it here. Yeah, for server, then you run it, then you are waiting for it to does it. So you can see now the process is continuing. So I'm going to wait until it is finished. Then I'm going to fast forward the video to save time when it has finished, so that we can proceed from there. Okay, because it takes a long time, like 16 minutes, and I've already done this. So I'm going to just to stop it to save time. And of course, after it has finished it, you are going to see something like this one. This is the final view of the auditing. And one thing to note here is where the scan results are stored, because you have to access them, and of course you have to make use of them. So here at the At the last screen, you are going to see that it is completed, or if there is any error, you're going to see it, and it's going to, I mean, the screen is, the message is going to tells you where are the results of your auditing. So, for instance, for my case, when I ran it before this session, the results were here. And of course, the XML version also are here. So what you need is to access this HTML and viewing it. So because it was in my Ubuntu server remotely, I downloaded it from the Ubuntu server and stored it locally here so that I can just show you how the results look like based on my previous auditing. So here is a kind of report that you are going to have. Not here, you are going to see OpenSCAP evaluation report, which means even Ubuntu, they are using the OpenSCAP tool that I've encouraged you to going and use it behind the scene, because these tools has covered almost all Linux-based system. But I've emphasized this for Ubuntu 20 onwards because on this tool it covers Ubuntu 18 and 16, and of course CentOS and Red Hat. There is where they have covered it, and in a lot way. I mean, in a big scope, and the other operating system. So that's why I've covered the part that is not covered thoroughly in this tool, unless you improvise. So here is a kind of results that you are going to see. And one thing important to note here is the this message that the target system do not satisfy the condition for this number of rule, 122 rules. And of course, 140 rule passed or 122 rules failed. So it means for the total number of controls for the given benchmark, which means Ubuntu 20.04 CIS secure configuration, 140 controls have already been implemented. That's the importance of auditing, because without auditing, you could have started implementing all those controls while 140 controls have already been implemented. So here, you are just focusing on this remain one. And of course, you can even filter the results, because here this HTML here, it shows you all everything. The past one, the failed one, the erroneous one. So you can just remove all these things and focus on the results of your interest. For instance, maybe I just want to see those one which just failed. So you are going to see the control that failed, and you can know further about the given control by clicking it. So you are going to see the description of it and how to implement it, all know the details. Here you will know what this control is all about and how can you manually enforce it. That's why you can see all this command here. So even manual, you could proceed from this auditing report to do the enforcement. But as I said before, the essence here is to automate everything. So after running auditing, then you can run in fixing. The only difference is you use the command sudo usg auditing, but here you are going to change it by using this command fix, and of course specifying the profile. But remember, now fixing it is going to change your given system configurations and a lot of things. So you have to be very careful before you executing it. And of course, if you want to fix everything, we advise that you use that approach when you have fresh installation. But if you have a production ready installation, you have to check to customize the fixing to just enable the control that you know they are not going to tremendous effect you are given asset or you are given system. So after fixing it, then you are going to relearn auditing to see now what is the improvement in compliance after fixing. So for my case here, I'm not going to fix because the server I'm using here, it's a real production server. I'm not going to learn fixing. But you can just run it on your own if you are using an installation. That is, it isn't a big deal. If there is any issue, you can just apply fixing. But the other way around is you can do the customization. I'm going to leave for you in the last part of this presentation. But before going that in that point, particular point, there is this another approach that this tool allows us. If you want to automate the implementation of this CIS benchmark on an Ubuntu server that is remote, that is not your. For instance, here, I've done everything on this Ubuntu server, but I want to automate the fixing that I can just run it in another Ubuntu machine. I can do it by using this command. that sudo ussg generate fix. I specify profile as usual. Then I specify the output file name, which is going to be a shell script, which means what this means is this tool is going to create or to generate a shell script that has implementation of all the controls that for the given CIS profile you have just specified. So what I need, I will just download that given shell script and run it on Ubuntu machine, of course, compatible to where I've just generated it based on my given profile. Then learning it is what it means is going to automatically implementing all those controls, even if I've not installed any of these previous tools that we have just seen when we begin this session. Now, I said in the beginning that I've focused on Ubuntu 20.04 onwards, but you can do the same for the lower version, but there is a slight deviation. So you can see for the Ubuntu 20.04 onwards, these were the command used. But if you are using now the lower version, instead you could have used the command similar to this one. But of course, you are not going to have like canonical 20.04. You are going to have something different like canonical 18.04 for your given case. For instance, this one corresponding exactly to what I'm trying to say, this is the command for Ubuntu 20.04, but what it does, it executes this script. But if it's about Ubuntu 18.04, then the script that you could have execute was this one. So if you could have not used this command to fix, you can just go straight here and learn the script. So as the same for the Ubuntu 16.04. So this is how you are going to do the secure configuration for Ubuntu. So for the customization, the one that I've told, I've left you this link. You can just go there and see now, as I said before, if we are applying this in a production-led environment where we have production system, we are not advised just to run the fixing without knowing what every control that is going to be enforced. So this page here is talking about how can you customize now you are fixing. Maybe this control should be enabled, this one should be disabled. By using the same Ubuntu, you can just visit it and do the customization. So that's it for today. And as I said, if you have followed me throughout this series, this session, you can now do the same by using OpenSCAP. And as I said, if you use OpenSCAP, you should opt for OpenSCAP Workbench because this is a graphical user interface tool. You don't have to run all these commands, but I've focused on this part of Ubuntu because OpenSCAP Workbench covers just Ubuntu 18.04 and 16.04. And of course, it is very, very robust and reliable on Red Hat and CentOS operating system. So that's it for today. Please, until next time, see you again.